Hello, everybody. It is me, Sharktopus117, Sharky, to all of you. And we have today another episode of the Colossal Kaiju Fan Podcast. And today we have a temporarily full house, which is pretty awesome. So I'll let everybody introduce themselves. We'll start with Mr. Spalien, Spotted Alien Monster.
Hello, it's me.
Then we have
Alien.
the zombie that is hungry.
Oh, well, now I was asleep.
And then we have, making his return since the last time we saw him on an episode I have forgotten, because it was a long time ago.
There was a chicken involved.
Is Burkian. Burkian is back. So we have a full court, if you will.
Hi.
Yep.
So today, guys, we're going to talk about some Space Jam. I hope you're all prepared and you have your notes ready.
Slamicus is in the CKC now?
I really wish. But no, today we're talking about Chilonra and Grimgarl, two well-beloved kaiju in the... What's its...
In the roster and of two well-beloved members, we should also say.
Yes, we will say that. So, shout-outs to them. Before we begin that, Spalien / Bert, I imagine there's something you want to plug right about now-ish.
Quite possibly.
Might be.
Basically, what we would like to talk about is the CKC comic. It's up for sale. As of recording this, it's up for sale on the Sunstone store, as well as at Comixology. Working on Amazon, but not quite to other sites yet, but we are working on getting everything up. Wait, it's not on Comixology. It's been submitted, and we're waiting on that.
Yes.
Hopefully by the time this is out, it will be up on Comixology.
Yes.
That would be very nice.
Yeah.
That's where I've been for the longest time, along with my computer dying.
Yeah.
In case you guys, in case the audience doesn't know, what exactly do you guys do on the comic? FYI. Or
go ahead, Sam. You have a much less complicated job.
I'm basically the colorist. As you can probably ascertain, that means I do the colors for the interiors of the comic. And I like to think I do a very good job, so you should buy the comic. Because we do good stuff with it.
I have yet to hear a single bad things about the colors, so
Yay.
I dare say. You also do the special effects work.
Yay!
Kapow!
I am the primary writer. I'm the only writer on the first issue, though that will be changing as of issue 2. And I am the group leader who got this whole nonsense together somehow.
Yeah.
Man, that takes me back to when I somehow started this thing. In any case, congratulations on getting the first one done. I am looking forward to reading it. It's just, holiday season, hectic time, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll be able to have more, but we need a lot more support for that, so...
I would really actually like to have an episode where we just talk about the comic, and in which case whatever. We'll figure that out behind the scenes. But that would be cool.
Spoiler cast?
Yeah, like a spoiler cast about the comic.
Yeah.
That would be kind of difficult with you two, though, because you probably know, everything that's going to happen.
I definitely do.
So,
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe you guys will be absent for that. I don't know. We'll figure it out. That's a maybe at the moment.
I can bite my tongue. Don't worry. I can go on about how things got started.
That's true. We'll figure it out later, viewers. Or
now
listeners.
we have a steampunk turtle to get to.
We do.
Yeah.
Okay. Bergen, you're familiar with this character. Why don't you just, get us started? Get this ball rolling.
Okay, then. Chilonra is, quite simply, a steampunk giant turtle.
Mecha Turtle!
Yes.
Can we really ask for anything more? This is as good as it gets.
You
could ask for a top hat.
Oh, yes. Yeah? You're right. I'm sorry.
I think someone gave him one in one of his pictures.
Yeah.
But still, you could ask for a fancy mustache, but he also has that.
Yeah.
He came prepared.
Yay.
He came locked and loaded.
Yeah, he did.
He brought a mustache to a fist fight and he won.
Yeah. I actually have stories about that mustache, but that's for another podcast.
All right.
I'm not joking.
I'm amused by that, and I will be excited to hear about that off air. So
I
yeah.
love-
Let's get a bit more in depth with Chillhunter, shall we?
Yes.
Okay,
So
then.
originally the Britons, or not the Britons, the Brits,
British
Empire,
Empire.
they were the master of the seas, or self-proclaimed at least, towards the end of the 19th century, 1800s. Unfortunately for them, there were some people in the sea, and they weren't really happy about that, so they decided to just start sinking like boats around the world. And you can't really shoot stuff underwater with muskets or whatever they had in the 1800s. This is the most
Well, they didn't have
historically
muskets
accurate
in the
podcast.
1800s.
They did not, but let's pretend they did.
You really need to brush up on your ancient history.
I do. It's not even that ancient. It's only a couple centuries. Whatever. Regardless, they needed a new weapon, and they had the technology. They were able to build him, and they made a giant steampunk turtle.
How this came about, we'll never know.
In any case, he something happened, and he ended up being stuck at the bottom of the North Sea for like 100 years, and then he was found. They drudged him back up, and he's like, "Yo, protect people some more," and he's like, "Okay," and that happened.
Yep.
That's pretty much what happened. Yes.
So yeah, energy system is kind of boring. He's just got stamina, just regains over time. Nothing special.
Yeah.
But I mean, he doesn't need it.
Well, he's a giant robot, so yeah.
He's rocking out. He doesn't need to have something fancy. He's already fancy just by design.
I imagine he has a system that keeps pouring coal into his engines.
Just something like that. I mean, you can figure it out on your own, I guess.
Yeah, that's when you get into details of that. It's kaiju. It doesn't. Have
Just
to be
just don't overthink it. Just go with it. Just roll with it. Come on.
Surface details, that's all you really need.
Exactly.
Anywho,
range-wise, he's got a heat beam from his head that he can shoot like fire breath, even though it's not really fire, but
I will say, for any worried elephants at home, it is not an eye beam.
yeah.
It is a mouth beam.
Yes, we seem to have a whole lot of people who are very concerned about I-beams.
I don't understand the I-beam hate. I like I-beams. I have no problem with it.
Laser eyes!
Almost as much as I like sharks with freaking lasers on their heads. But that's for another podcast once again. Can that just be the title of this episode? That's for another podcast?
It probably will be knowing movie.
That's going to be it. Okay, confirmed.
Note to self, for future comics involving Chillhunter, mention the fact that his creator was named Flint Cole.
Yes, Flint Cole created my word. So few people on the forums are going to get this, but it's so good. Anyways, to get us back on track, he uses Royal Artillery at long range, which is
Cannons?
I guess cannons.
It's basically missiles.
Yeah, they fire from his back. His shell opens up in sections, and really primitive missiles fire off at the enemy.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. It says they saturate specific areas of the battlefields. I'm curious what that means.
Pretty much just they are supposed to rain down across the area and explode everywhere.
Oh, okay,
yeah, they're not like homing missiles or anything. They just
It's like kind of like an AoE rain of fire or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. I like that, actually.
Do research into all this crap.
He has artillery launchers that are also like explosives, which is pretty cool. They're directly fired as well, so easy to aim. And most powerful and also least described, at least visually, is the scientific aperture, which is close range burst of energy. What exactly that means, I'm not sure, but that sounds awesome.
Yeah, me and Bert can explain it.
Yeah, you want to take this one, Sam, or should I?
Basically, you know how Iron Man has that ability where he can shoot this mega laser from his chest?
Yes.
That's what Chillhunter does.
Nice.
Only it's a lot hotter and it's even bigger. Only close.
Think
is it close range or?
It says close range here.
Think a more personalized mana beam.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. And without killing yourself in the process, practically.
It does waste the most energy.
It does waste a lot of energy. That is true. But that
But
stamina like energy system, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, it deals a lot of damage. So
Worth it. Grappling, he's just kind of average. Nothing spectacular. Just a guy rocking
He's
out.
not very well articulated.
He is a turtle, and turtles aren't known for being able to grab things. Although they are known for being ninjas.
He was also a clockwork turtle, so yeah.
As well as heroes. They're also known for being heroes.
Only if you're from Britain, which he is.
He is. He's a hero turtle. Also,
and
actually,
he has to have a half shell. Gotta remember that.
very important. Has there even been an evil turtle in anything? I think
Probably.
Yes.
What?
Gamimbus.
Oh, of course. I'm foolish. Okay, I take back what I said. Moving on to melee combat, he has the latest and greatest in ancient technology. Just punching things with steam pistons and whatnot.
I just like to imagine the big O when he punches, you know.
Just nice.
Oh.
That's
Not
an
gonna
anime I
lie,
need to see.
the pneumatic fists is a very hard attack to visualize in a comic. You need the motion of it going back and then forward.
It's like bloody rocket punches in Pacific Rim is what it is. That's what I think of. Because that's the most...
Sort of.
Well, it's one of the most recent giant robot things in my mind. The other being Gurren Lagann, but I'm not going to get into that. That's for another podcast. That stated...
You did that on purpose.
I didn't intend to, but then I did. He likes to fight submersively. What? No. Underwater.
He likes to be submerged.
Yes. English. So how that will work in the game, I don't know. Because I'm pretty sure Simon Strange has gone on record saying he doesn't like to make maps that are very clearly designed to fit a certain playstyle, because that just makes them predictable. So to make a map that has a large amount of water, like that you can go under, and to put Chalanra in it, it's like, well, of course, he's just going to go in the water and fight from there. Therefore, I'm leading this to believe it's just kind of like flavor text.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong. Who knows?
Probably is. Though it would be kind of cool if he could just, like, turtle up onto the ground and then launch his attacks.
That would be cool. It'd be cool if he could retract his limbs and head and whatnot.
And spin around and fly.
Yeah.
Might get a little sued for that.
No, he's Boomerang. I think
He's having fun.
I think YouTube is gonna catch us for that. Is what it is. That was too perfect. It's gonna go through their filters and just this feels. Now it has also been unfortunately to shoot down what you said, Zombie. It has been confirmed Chalanra can burrow, which actually I think that makes him the first burrowing kaiju we ever talked about here.
Really?
Yeah, I guess.
Oh.
So he can't fly, but he can dig. So that's cool.
Well, I'm gonna have to use that later.
Yes, you are. Weaknesses wise, he's pretty invulnerable to anything based off of like weapons or heavy, like impact damage, because he has a giant shell. But other things are pretty basic, and he's not able to like survive drawn out fights for the most part.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
well, the main thing of it is that his shell is what is really invulnerable. His main body isn't all that tough.
Yeah, as should we spoil that or?
Let's not, because I haven't read it and you're also spoiling it for me. So let's not spoil that.
No spoilers. But like his shell is really, really tough. The rest of them's not all that.
It's
great.
just regular metal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
Well, he's also made of
metal at
brass and bronze, I'd imagine, right?
Yeah. So little
That's
squishable.
Yes.
Which doesn't really make a whole lot of sense because he basically has this heat core that superheats him.
And yet it doesn't melt him.
Surface details.
Yes, once again, scientific analysis of Chalanra's.
And we're walking.
So,
Nothing to see here.
Nothing to see here. Pay no attention to
All
the
right,
man behind
everyone,
the curtain.
nothing to see here.
We're going
You know
to
what?
assume that he's made of a more durable metal and that it's just painted.
Space props.
He's probably just made of gold. He's like the turtle of pimps.
Except that wouldn't work.
That would be worse.
Everyone knows that gold is the
That would not work at all. That would be
metal
the
of them
weakest
all.
thing ever. That'd be funny, though.
So much worse.
He'd also be very heavy then, too, if he was made of gold.
You would not be able to swim, I'll tell you that much.
He's actually pretty
On the
light
plus side,
as
he's not
far as-
going to rust anytime soon.
That's true. He'll
pretty
look
Yeah,
light
but-
as far as kaiju go. He's only 46,000 metric tons.
But he's
That's-
also only 78 meters high.
That's true.
All right.
a bit
Should we
small.
get going on?
Yes.
Things are calling for me, and not related to the comic this time, but I will be back next time. All things, hoping anyways.
Yeah.
Same
And-
bad time, that channel.
Bye, Burkian.
In another podcast.
In another
Yay.
podcast. Burkian left. I think he died. I'm not sure. Probably.
I'm sorry, I had to prepare the sacrifice for our latest monster
Yes.
introduction.
I mean, we already had the outro for him kind of having to take off, so.
I mean,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Our next monster is Grimgarl, so yeah.
Yeah.
Grimgarl.
Grimgarl is pretty rad, to say the least. She is a giant zombie alligator. Much like Chalanra, she is just one of those monsters that you just describe and then fall in love with because it's super cool.
I mean, okay, I guess I have to be the aggressor here. I'm not crazy about zombies that much. But
I am.
regardless,
I have
she's kind
enough
of interesting.
zombies to fill for the both of us, Sammy.
Yeah.
Do you have enough for the three of us?
Yes.
Okay, good. Because
I have enough for all the zombies. I am a zombie.
He is zombie.
to be fair,
I'm doing
although
good here.
I myself am not hugely fond of zombies. No offense, Hungry Zombie.
That's
I think it works very well here, and I really like that it's not just, it's big on virus. It's like voodoo, which is awesome. And her design really kind of pushes the boundaries of how gory we're gonna make this game, because she's like rotting and dying. Well, not dying, she's dead, but...
Yeah, it's just her design is just not. It's just kind of bland, which I'm not very crazy about. It's a lot of green, and then the flesh from her corpse, and there's not a whole lot keeping interest in there. So
I like her design personally. I think it looked cool. I think she looks rad.
yeah, I'm not saying she's really super. I'm not saying she's horrible or anything. I'm just saying it's not my favorite. So.
All right. Well, Zombie, you're the zombie expert here. Your opinions.
Ooh, you know me. Undead and loving it, baby. Of course, Grimgarl here. Big old zombie gator. I've seen a couple of zombie gators before, but this is a zombie gator.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. I never would have thought to combine a zombie and an alligator.
Yeah,
It's
it's
rare,
one of
but
those things that just kind of is like...
I've seen it a couple times in comics and video games, but, like that. Interesting enough, if Grimgarl were to get into a video game, she would technically be the largest zombie ever.
Yeah.
That is true. So, let's talk a bit about her origin. I was about to say order for some reason. I'm not sure why.
Hors d'oeuvres, which is what we're going to give to Grimgarl.
So she doesn't murder our faces.
Yes.
So, during the 1800s, there was this big alligator named Peanut in the Louisiana bayous, and it ate like 24 people. And, it kind of just became a manner of speech where people would just be like, oh, I wish Peanut would eat that guy, because if they don't like them. And then, after Peanut died, some local practitioners of voodoo they summon some, like, voodoo spirits, which always ends well.
Yeah,
Yes,
they summoned a couple of Loa. Is that how you pronounce it? Loa?
I mean,
Lua.
we never pronounce anything right on this podcast, so I mean, whatever.
No, we do not.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Loa. They summons the Loa to kind of possess her body.
Yes.
And basically she started to grow. I think that was because magic.
Magic.
I think, yeah, that's probably the excuse we're going with.
In the same way, because magic, her body doesn't decompose as fast.
Yeah.
As it should.
Lucky.
Yeah. So because magic, we have a giant zombie alligator.
And now it's just messing around. Now, it's important that there are two voodoo spirits trapped in her body, and they're both attempting to use it at the same time.
Yeah.
So this plays fairly heavily into her energy system and her own gameplay style.
Yeah, she has her own unique style of movements, one of which is described as roaming style, and one that's described as dead air. Which roaming style is, what?
Oh, so you go ahead. I'm sorry. I was just thinking of some other character from a game who used two different combat styles.
Yeah, yeah, it's not quite two different combat styles. That kind of makes me think of like, Siegfried or Nightmare from,
I was saying like
Soul
Tira from Soul Calibur. You know, Tira, how she shifts from one form of melee, and then she has that, you know, the perky, happy mode, and then the depressing looking one.
Is that from Soul Calibur 5?
Yeah, well, Tira's from like Soul Calibur 3, 4, and 5, I believe. She's the one with the big metal ring.
Oh, right. I never played as her a lot. Anyway, Grimgirl sort of has, doesn't quite have a differentiating combat style, but a differentiating, movement style, which does, actually, I guess it does kind of influence how her combat goes. So, anyway, roaming mode is sort of the regular walking around, kind of smashing stuff as all giant monsters do. And then dead air mode is this sort of thing where I guess she becomes like light on her weight and is a sort of puppet or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. She just kind of flows around. She conserves energy in this form, so that's what she does. And she uses more of her like ranged attacks in the dead air mode as well.
Yeah.
That's one of the main focuses of that. Basically, it's a switch to slight range. It's not quite ranged attacking, but it makes her lighter because, you know, she's not on the ground. All of her weight is suspended in the air.
Yeah. I kind of associate it with being a puppet because I've heard Bamboo kind of talking about it a little bit. I'm not sure. But yeah.
So, yeah. To move on to her actual ranged combat, the main thing she has is this evil eye, which is a glare.
The first eye laser.
Which basically just makes everyone want to just give up because they're just like, oh no, that eye was really evil, and they just kind of lose their will to fight for a while.
I don't know.
Anti-life equation for DC.
So
I mean, got that reference other than Spot.
No, I didn't get it. I'm sorry.
Sharky's head.
What happened?
Exactly. Go on.
She also has what kind of projectiles? Shadow energy,
needles?
I guess. It's saying shadow energy. I guess she has some control over magic that kind of, yeah, which sort of lets her. That's due to the Loa, probably the one in dead air mode that she would utilize that.
Yeah. So to move on, that's all we have for ranged attacks, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we're moving on to grappling. She's slow, being a giant lumbering zombie. She's, kind of, what's the word for zombies? The way they move? Shuffling? Shambling, there we go.
Yeah.
So she's not exactly the fastest, and
it's very difficult for her to start grappling too.
However, luckily, her large size is a lot of defense against grappling as well. Although when in dead air mode, it's a lot easier to do so because, as we said before, she is.
Well, because she's floating.
Yeah, basically.
What happens if she stops like floating halfway through? It's like, I got her. Oh no.
Oh no! All of a sudden, all this weight is just It's messing
Grimgarl
with me.
used body slam.
That'd be good. Paralyzes the other guy. Anywho, enough with the Pokemon references that we always seem to make on this podcast somehow.
Because it's so easy.
Because that's for another podcast. So, melee-wise is where she is at her best. She has massive jaws. She's got poison-tipped claws. She's got her big tail, and she's just so big and meaty. She just throws herself around everywhere.
Yeah, kind of one of the things about her that's described a lot is that she's heavy, which I guess she is a bit heavier than some other kaiju her size. I think that's more associated with her being a dead corpse, so she's supposed to kind of
Have you ever tried lifting a dead body before?
Do you want me to answer that?
What?
I'm gonna say no. Anyway.
All right. Not
basically, she's just heavy somehow. So I don't how that makes her heavier than some of the other heavy guys like Tursicra.
Well, it's probably more like mass, just condensed.
I guess.
Like that.
But then we have Macrosaurus, who is the densest of them all.
Well, he's very fat.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically. So, that's basically all there is for her melee. So, to move on to weaknesses, she is fairly... Well, we've mentioned that she's so heavy, so obviously this means she's slow. Even when she's floating, she's only a little bit faster. She's
compounded by the fact that she has decomposing muscle. So
yes.
Yeah. So, and not only that, but even though she's so focused on melee, if she fights someone who's smaller or faster than her, like, it's pretty easy to just outmaneuver her and keep on messing with her until she goes down.
Yeah.
There's also the fact of her supernatural origin.
Yeah, that,
Their attacks are meant to mess with the minds and bodies of her opponents, and you robots out there, you're able to overcome that. You jerks.
That they are.
You're useless. Useless!
Those jerky...
I guess there would somehow have to program an immunity to mech-based monsters in there, but I don't know what would constitute a monster having an immunity outside of that. Anyway.
I wonder, do cyborgs count towards this immunity? Like, Exterminus?
I wouldn't have a clue.
Yeah, that's true.
He's more machine than he is organic. He's kind of mindless, too.
Yeah.
It's unclear, to say the least. So, that's really all there is to say about her.
Shall we move on to the top 5?
We shall. Okay, everybody, so finish talking about our kaiju. It's time to move on to the top 5, our new segment. Still pretty new, right? The last of it hasn't come out yet.
Yeah.
Which we'll get into a bit later. As of recording. They'll probably be coming out soon. In a matter of days, actually. But that's...
Regardless, rather than do what we did this time where we came up with our own individual lists and then kind of listed them off, this time we kind of decided to kind of aggregate. Yeah.
To collaborate on our list. This is how most of the top 5s will be from now on, unless we do, like... If it's not favorites, it will basically be done this way. If it's, like, your favorite or least favorite X, then it will be individualized. But for, like, these kinds of things, like, just... What we're going to get into right now, the top 5 movie monsters that aren't kaiju.
Yeah.
Which I feel for a lot of people will be relevant because I imagine anyone listening to this is a kaiju fan, but a lot of kaiju fans tend to watch a lot of other movies that have monsters in them.
Yeah, and we do also have some honorable mentions. Do we want to say those now or later?
Yeah, we'll say them right now before we get into the list. Zombie, do you have anything you want to add?
No, I'm good.
All right. So, before we go in, some honorable mentions to all of the OG classic monsters like Dracula, the Wolfman, zombies, Frankenstein, all of your classic stuff. We did consider putting them into the list, but it felt really general, and we felt like it would be unfair to some of the other monsters on this list.
Yeah, and we did have a lot of discussion over Deadites and Predator. Predator we kind of dropped because we just couldn't figure. He just didn't seem quite as prolific as.
We'll explain more when we get to when he.
Yeah, he's definitely a monster.
Not spoil our list.
He's a huge beast, but he just didn't seem to quite stand out. And as for Deadites, we kind of decided.
What's more, me and Spalane have never seen the Evil Dead franchise, and Zombie has. So
yeah, and we just kind of realized that people who haven't seen the Evil Dead series, like me and Sharky, don't really know how to differentiate between Deadites and zombies. HZ and the person who's recording this, Wee, will definitely argue otherwise, but we just kind of, I think we were able to say...
We met halfway.
Yeah.
So, without further ado, let's get going on number 5. I'm sorry, I forgot how to count down. Well, we have the Gremlins from the Gremlins movies. This was my suggestion. Zombie agreed with me. Spalane, you've never seen these films, right?
I have never seen these films. I was kind of a sheltered child.
Just watch the first one. Don't bother with the second one.
Okay, unpopular opinions time. I actually really like the second one. I don't like it as much as the first one, of course, but I do like it, and I think it has its place.
It has its moments, but it just doesn't stack up to the first one to me.
Oh, of course it doesn't. When does that ever happen? Dark Knight. I'm kidding.
But yeah, I've just always kind of found Gremlins to be a bit too creepy for me, and especially as a kid, it would have been way too creepy. I mean, I was freaked out by Scooby-Doo and Zombie Island, so...
That's one of my favorite Scooby-Doo movies.
I think that's a pretty good movie. It's one of the only Scooby-Doo movies that actually discusses actual monsters and what would happen with that, but regardless...
in any case, we've gotten sidetracked. Gremlins.
Yeah.
I mean, they're great. They're just a bunch of jerks, and they just run around doing funny stuff, messing up.
They just wreak havoc. That's what they do.
That's all they do, and I mean, it's a fun time. It's honestly it's more of a comedy than it is anything else. It's a dark comedy, to be sure, but it's a really funny movie, and the monsters themselves just have such personality. And that's one of the things I like about Gremlins, too, is that they gave more unique Gremlins.
And isn't it something like they're sort of this race that managed to invade by looking cute? Or
no, I think that's Critters that you're thinking of.
Yeah, you're thinking of maybe that. Well,
also, Gremlins spawned like 50 bajillion ripoffs, including Critters and others. Hobgoblins, etc. Yeah. Anyways, don't feed them after midnight. Not a good idea.
Don't get them wet.
Don't get them wet, and never ever put them in sunlight, unless you want to kill them, because that's how they end every movie, by putting them in sunlight.
We did no, that was you're thinking of the second movie when they did the electricity, but anyway, we did that list in reverse order because it was like, don't get them wet, don't.
Yeah, we did it in order of least importance.
All right then. So,
as in moving on to lesson, whatever. Moving on. Number 4 is kind of an odd one compared to the others, but we all agree these characters deserve their time to shine.
Yeah.
Spalane, who is number 4?
This is one I put up. It was Sully and Mike Wazowski from Monsters, Inc. To be sure, it is a huge tonal shift from the rest of the entire list that we put up.
No question.
But for me, I just kind of thought they kind of deserved to be on there because they kind of went into the idea of, I mean, what goes on behind the monster that's supposed to jump out of the closet and scare you? And really, is there anything to be afraid of there? And I don't know, for me, it was just kind of, it's just this really great movie that Pixar made, and it does what they do best. It tells a story and kind of makes you think.
It is. I would also agree with both Sully and Mike Wazowski because they're both just really well done characters, and I mean, it's just, once again, Pixar at its finest, as Pixar was wont to do. Nowadays, they've kind of been overshadowed, especially since Disney has Marvel now, and they have their own animation studio now that's not Pixar, and...
Well, they haven't released a movie in,
a long time.
yeah.
Pixar's been releasing those kind of movies, like, what about Planes, and Planes 2, and
Well,
Cars?
We don't want to talk
Planes
about
and-
planes, though.
That wasn't by Pixar. That was actually by Disney.
Really?
And then, Pixar hasn't actually released one of their own movies in, I think, about a year now.
The next one's gonna be bloody... Oh, no, it's the... Wait. Is the one about the emotions Pixar or
Inside
no?
Out?
Inside Out. there
Yeah.
you go. That's Pixar, right?
That's going to be the next one. Then they're going to release The Good Dinosaur and I think Finding Dory. They're also working on Incredibles 2.
And Toy Story 4.
Yeah. Anyway, reason why Sully and Mike are on there is because they may not be,
Horrifying.
like the rest of this list, super scary, but they're certainly prolific right now, and they just have they're just able to pack a lot of meaning and just relate as human characters, despite being monsters. Which I think is something that you don't get a lot from monsters. Actually, no, not really, because they are meant to relate to you, and that's how they scare you, because that's something that could happen.
Exactly.
In some ways, yeah.
So, Monsters Inc. characters, always good. On to number 3. We have Bruce, the shark from Jaws.
Yes.
Between this and the Gamera theme, this video's going down. This is not going to stay on YouTube.
They're gonna lob us for all the copyright violations.
All the copyright violations. So,
Everyone.
Yeah.
This was more so my thing, and I really pushed for Jaws because I feel like Jaws really set a standard for monster movies in not showing the monster and being more conservative with it, and it really, really paid off.
And as we also kind of talked about, it was actually kind of a mistake that happened.
Yeah, it was meant to be more of a Roger Corman style film where the shark was on all the time and it was really cheesy and stuff. But
Or Michael Bay.
well, Michael Bay was like, I don't know what, a porn director at this time? Who knows?
Yeah, we have no idea.
We don't want to know, frankly, based off of his current work. But that's neither here nor there. Actually, was he even alive? This was in the 70s. Wow. He's probably Babby. As I was saying, the shark animatronic of Bruce just didn't work very well in the water. And it's actually, at the end of production, it ended up just sinking to the bottom of the ocean. And they just kind of left it there. I think they drudged it up at some point. Dredged. There we go. I can the English. But yes. So as a result, they were just like, well, let's just not show the monster and just show him at the end, and it'll be a huge payoff. And it really was.
Yeah.
So
that's interesting how it worked out.
Another monster on this list who we'll get to also really used this formula, and they really helped to cement it in, but it definitely started with Jaws. And I feel like Jaws has an influence that has felt far and wide. And it is a film that is still scary to this day. I saw it in theaters, I won't say recently, but it was almost a year ago, with my mother, who had never seen it before, and man, she got scared. It was really funny. But yeah.
And that is The Thing.
Yeah, next is The Thing. This is zombies. You want to go into number 2?
The only one that made it on the list.
Yeah.
Well, hey, you got to number 2, so that's not bad.
He could have been number 1.
Exactly. I could have been a contender.
Yeah. Anyway, The Thing was just, we kind of decided that it should be at number 2 because...
1, we like number 1 more, and then 2, neither Spaley nor I have seen The Thing.
Well,
you guys are doing yourself a
I was going to say it was at number 2 because it really was able to show what practical effects could do.
Yes.
For the record, this is the 1980s John Carpenter movie, not the prequel remake that came out a few years ago, or the original The Thing from Another World from the 50s, which again neither of these two have seen.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, The Thing.
Well, not obscure movies, kids.
Yeah, I get you telling me that a lot, but I am not a horror movie watcher. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I just have a weak stomach. And that's another reason why The Thing is just this prolific monster. It is
horrifying.
kind of terrifying because it's something that can mimic you and
in a
deceive
really
you
terrifying way as well.
In fact, I actually think it's a bit scarier than our number one pick in that aspect, although I'm sure Sharky will disagree with me on that.
Well, I will agree that it's definitely a much more psychological type of fear than what we have for number one.
I would debate that with number one, but anyway, since we're talking so much about number one,
are we sure we don't have anything else to say about the thing before we move on? Just making sure.
Well, it'd just be me talking about it, but so yeah, let's just go to one.
All right, well, our number one monster...
We'll probably refer back to The Thing while we talk about it.
Okay.
So...
You'll spice it.
The conversation's not over.
Our number one, after much debate and much consideration, we ended up deciding that this monster was not only among our favorites, but it was also just an incredibly influential monster, much like Jaws, and much like The Thing. And not only that, but just a really well done monster and character, if you even want to go that far. I'm not sure if everyone will agree with me on that, but that's a whole other aspect. Our number one monster who's not a kaiju is the Xenomorph, the alien from the Alien franchise.
Yeah.
Now, I myself have only seen Alien and Aliens. I know better than to see the other two. Haven't seen the Aliens vs. Predators films, although I kind of do want to, even though they're terrible.
I've seen all the films, read some of the comics, played a good chunk of the games.
Played a fair amount of the games as well. Spaley, your experience with the Xenomorph?
My experience with the Xenomorph, I have not been quite as entrenched in the stuff in getting to know the media that it is incorporated with, but rather I've always just been intrigued by just kind of the background behind it, like Alec Giger and just sort of his design work. That was just so...
Little man he is.
That was very interesting to me when I kind of first saw it. And as for the Xenomorph just being kind of a terror, there's just something interesting about it. It's sort of like an infection or an organism.
It's
that
this
refuses...
horrible sexual terror is the only way to describe it to me. It's a parasite. It's the ultimate invader.
Yeah.
On the most, even, it invades not just, your home or your ship or whatever. It invades your body. And you just, it leaves you violated. It's terrible. All of the metaphor in regards to phalluses and other things. Is that the correct plural?
Well, it's something that's just designed as a monster, as a concept. It's just designed to survive and do that in any way it possibly can.
In the most horrific fashion imaginable.
I admire its purity. It's horrifying and it's beautiful.
As for me, I'm not quite so intrigued with the terror it can cause. Otherwise, yeah, I probably would have said it would have been a harder debate for me with The Thing and the Xenomorph. But for me, The Thing is more just a concept. I can't put an image to it. I can always sort of imagine those low quality pics that you see around the internet of just like these body parts that are dismantled from that thing or something like that. And you just never really know what the thing looks like. The Xenomorph, you not only know what it looks like, you also kind of get an idea of what it can do. And that's, I'm sure we could debate whether that makes it less scary or scarier than the Thing.
It's the question of, is knowing really going to help you overcome your fear, or does it just make you fear it more? Bringing it back to the Xenomorph, I guess, is there anything else there is?
I mean, just for me, it was super interesting design when I first saw it. I always just thought was one of the coolest looking monsters out there.
It's incredibly iconic as well.
Yeah.
Everything about it, the acid for blood, the mouth within the mouth, the life cycle, everything about the Xenomorph just is very popular. And then there's the Xenomorph Queen, who I also think is really cool, but in a very different way.
Yeah. Even the spawned Prometheus, though, I have no idea. I generally
Let's not
hear
talk about Prometheus.
Yeah,
Prometheus is very good.
that kind of summarizes what I've heard about it. People kind of saying, it wasn't too bad, and then there are the people who say, we don't talk about that.
Let's not talk about it. It's... oh, boy.
A painful
Prometheus
memory,
was a thing
guess.
that happened, and I'm going to try and pretend it didn't happen.
All right.
Let's leave it at that.
Okay.
That stated, I'm going to try and get Alien Isolation, because I really want to play that, because I hear it's really good.
Yeah. I loved a moment when my brother was playing that game. I was watching him for like 20 minutes. He was just running into, those robots, the synthoids.
Yeah.
And I just decided to talk to him. I was like, for a game called Alien, there's a surprising lack of said alien in this game.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of also part of the terror.
Well, he needs to finish.
Here's the best part.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
Then he starts going, well, that's because you missed the first part, and then the tail slides through his character, the character's stomach. He's like, I'm like, oh man, I love this game. It has a sense of irony.
Oh, yes. That is absolutely the situation with the Xenomorph and Alien Isolation. Very looking forward to playing that game whenever I get the chance.
Yeah. Anyway, shall we start wrapping up?
Yeah, I think we've talked all about our top 5. Normally, we would have our bloody mailbag here, but our mailbag is empty because the last episode where we announced the mailbag hasn't gone up yet. So, we also have planned a progenitor party. It'll be the next episode immediately following that, which will be, we're putting out the call. If you're a progenitor and you had your collaboration, your monster is on the wiki, contact us and be like, yo, I want to be in this party, and we will get back to you guys and be like, yo, show up, get on the party, have fun times. And that's what we'll try and do there. With that, and then after that, we'll return to your regularly scheduled podcast.
Yeah.
This stated, that's just about it. So I have been Sharktopus117.
I've been Spotted Alien. Please go check out the comic. We've got it up on the Sunstone store and coming to Column Mixology hopefully soon.
And I'm just a zombie.
And
a hungry one at that.
Hungary, if you're Simon Strange.
If you want to hear more about us, well, that's for another podcast.